I go for refuge in the Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge in the Dharma, the path of rightful mind, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be fully known. I go for refuge in the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be fully known. I am aware that the three jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha support my effort. May the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha support my effort. May the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha support my effort. Heart of Great Perfect Wisdom Sutra. Avalokita Bodhisattva, when deeply practicing prajna paramita, clearly saw that all five aggregates are empty and thus relieved all suffering. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form itself is emptiness. Emptiness itself forms. Sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all dharmas are marked by emptiness. They neither rise nor cease, are neither defiled nor pure, neither increase nor decrease. Therefore, given emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no nose, no ears, no eyes, no sight, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of mind consciousness. There is neither ignorance nor extinction of ignorance, neither old age and death nor extinction of old age and death, no suffering, no cause, no cessation, no path, no knowledge, and no attainment. With nothing to attain, the Bodhisattva relies on prajna paramita. Thus the mind is without hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Far beyond all inverted views, one realizes nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future rely on prajna paramita and thereby obtain unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Therefore know the Prajnaparamita as the great miraculous mantra, the great bright mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra, which removes all suffering and is true, not false. Therefore we proclaim the Prajnaparamita mantra, the mantra that says Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parasamgate, Bodhisva. Good morning. And once again, you are treated to my Soto Heart Sutra. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in today. And I'd like to thank Craig. It's his first solo day here, so thank you very much, Craig. My tech team is Craig. So every Sunday, we chant the three refuges. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Dharma. These three refuges are pretty special. At Shasta Abbey, we chant them continuously. Whenever we put on our rakusu, we chant to ourselves, homage to Buddha, homage to Dharma, homage to Sangha. Every time you eat something, if somebody gives you a little piece of candy, you touch it to your forehead and say, homage to Buddha, homage to Dharma, homage to Sangha. If we look at these three rules, our commands, you could almost call them, we might think that taking refuge in Buddha is really important because we are practicing Buddhism. And Dharma is what the Buddha thought. So maybe Dharma is also most important too. And the Sangha, well, it's great to have friends to sit with. And the people here tuned in right now, we're all nice people. But do we know how important the Sangha really is in our lives? And do we truly appreciate this group of people? And many of those we have not even met yet since we've been doing this all virtually. Do we know how important the Zen Center is in our lives? My teacher, Ado, always said, I take refuge in Sangha, is the most important of the three refugees. The Sangha contains both the Buddha and the Dharma. Recently, I've been studying the Abhidharma, the old Buddhist text Abhidharma. It's a long, involved, very dense text that I'll probably never really get through and never understand. But my three takeaways is that every state of mind, every mental state has a good, bad, and neutral aspect of it, depending on what we surround it. Most therapists will tell you that guilt and shame are awful and to get rid of them. But according to Abhidharma, there's also a good side of guilt and shame. That's if you do something, and if you feel shame for it or guilt for it, maybe you won't do it again. And it's that teaching aspect of shame. That's where it's good, but guilt and shame can also be very destructive. And for every mental state, we need to see that there's three aspects to it: good, bad, and neutral. I'm going to start the discussion with some definitions of Sangha. There's a lot of different stuff out there, so I'm sure if you look it up, everything I say, you'll be able to find a contradiction to exactly what I say. But I think I have some fairly well-rounded definitions. there's three distinct definitions of Sangha. The current popular definition is that it includes all of Buddhist practitioners, and that's you, me, and also kind of everybody we live with, people walking down the street. Everybody is Sangha. And one of the generally applied terms you'll find, especially in older texts, is that the Sangha is the community of ordained priests and nuns. And the most strict definition from Scripture applies to practitioners who have only directly realized emptiness. If that was the definition, my Sangha would be very lonely. I'm not even sure if I would be in it. So it can also mean protection. That's how we protect ourselves. I use the first definition of Sangha. It's who we practice with. But I really like the idea that Sangha is our protection. There's a short story from the sutras that show how important the importance Buddha placed on the Sangha. And I'm sure you've all heard this. Ananda came up and said, Buddha, a longtime personal attendant of the monk, Ananda, Buddha's longtime personal attendant to the monk, came up to Buddha and said, Buddha, is it true it's been said that the Sangha, that the good spiritual friends are fully half of the holy life? And Buddha replied, no, Ananda. Good spiritual friends are the whole of holy life. Find refuge in the Sangha. In this time of isolation, it's real important to keep finding refuge in our Sangha. That's my addition. Buddha didn't say that. Tibetan Buddhist scholar Dr. Alice Brizan spoke of the two types of Sangha, the Sangha and the Sangha gem. And when we take refuge in the Sangha, we're not only talking about the Sangha, we're talking about the Sangha gem, the thing that connects us all, that holistic version of the Sangha. We are the earth, we are one, we are Sangha. The Sangha I'm going to talk about today is just capital S Sangha, just our group of people that we practice with today. I'm going to go in that safe direction of the Sangha. I'm going to go through a few lists because Buddhism loved their lists, and these are things that I just picked up here and there. 7 conditions of the Sangha. Assembly, you have to assemble frequently and in large numbers. You have to meet and disperse peacefully and attend to the affairs of the Sangha in accord, and appoint no new rules and do not abolish the existing ones, but to follow the training that the Buddha laid out. 3, you have to show respect, honor, and esteem and veneration towards the elder monks and those with long-standing, that have the fathers and leaders of the Sangha, and think it trustworthy to listen to them. Do not come under the power of the cravings that lead to flesh. Cherish the forest depths and their dwellings. Well, in this Sangha, we're not really cherishing the forest. We're cherishing this space that we are able to meet in. And in today's time, that's cherishing our laptops, iPads, computers, so we can meet virtually. Establish themselves in mindfulness, and that we might come in peace. Those are some very old rules, conditions, not rules. And I have a few other lists I'm not going to go through. But if you Google conditions of Sangha and look at some of these wonderful old Buddhist teachers, especially Tibetans, have some wonderful rules to meet by. But I am going to read 6 conditions to be remembered. This is how to pertain to the Sangha. Attend to each other with loving kindness in deed, both openly and privately. Attend to each other in loving kindness in word, both openly and in private. Attend to each another in loving kindness in thought, both openly and in private. Respect what is received as due offerings, even if their contents of their alms bowls. Do not make use of them without sharing them with the members of the community. In company with their brethren, they train themselves openly and in private in rules of conduct that are complete and perfect, spotless and pure. In company of their brethren, preserve openly and in private the insight that is noble and liberating and leads one to act what it is like with, and leads one who acts upon it to the other. The thing I want to say is all 6 of those will say in openly and in private. Thich Nhat Hanh said, if you have a Sangha that is joyful, animated, and have the desire to practice and help, you will mature as a bodhisattva. I always tell the monks, nuns, and lay practitioners at Plum Village that if they want to succeed in their practice, they have to find ways to live in harmony with one another, even those who are difficult. And if they can't succeed in the Sangha, how can they possibly succeed outside of it? Becoming a monk or nun is not just between student and teacher. It involves everyone. Getting a yes from everyone in the Sangha is the true Dharma seal. And that brings me right back to the study of the Abhidharma. Just after I've spent a few moments about how wonderful this, talking about how wonderful the Sangha is, and how it supports us and how we're supposed to support each other in true Abhidharma fashion, I'm going to say sometimes the Sangha can be not so good. Almost everything I read and hear about the Sangha is discuss how great it is and how lucky we are to have a Sangha. But there are times when the Sangha can be a learning experience. And I'm not talking about the universal Sangha Jen, I'm talking about this little Sangha. Even the little Sangha about how you and those people you live with in your home right now. Our little section of the Sangha here. What reasons do we have to tune in today and to click that little donate button we see on the website every week, just so we can keep this place open, warm, the lights on, to have our wonderful tech set up here, which you cannot see, but it's a nice setup. It's to be able to study, practice, and meditate with each other. And that's our goal, is to attain our true selves. And also we can help each other here. This Sangha, we not only have our Sunday morning YouTube virtual Dharma talks, we still have our recovery groups. Very important. We still have our LGTP group that meets. We still collect for the food banks. You don't bring your food here. There's a basket there that has a few items in. But our Sangha is very active in helping those around us. And that is why we keep coming here. We not only help ourselves, we help others. It's a truly great group of people. And when we take our first pure precept, I vow to do no harm. That's why we're here. And everyone that walks through this door, virtually or physically, we like to think that we envelop them in true acceptance. But the Sangha can be neutral sometimes too. Sometimes when I'm speaking to a group, like last week, I don't think I knocked anybody's socks off. Timing was a little off, had tech issues. I got confused, and that was, I'm not sure if I'll say that was a neutral time of me being in the Sangha. And then there's days when a little anger pops up, we snap at other people. And I'm sure at times I say things that are totally offensive to someone else. That's when the Sangha can be not so good. It could be even seen as a negative experience. I know at my time in the monastery, there's times when I had big conflicts with fellow monks. And you know what? I had to sit down and eat dinner with that person. And that night, I had to sit down in the zendo and meditate with that person. And the nice thing about being in a captive audience like a monastery, you have got to figure it out. And as we find ourselves at home with our little captive audiences, we have, I'll say, little snits. We have got to figure it out. We're all too human, and that's what happens. The Sangha is not a social club. We're not meeting just to make ourselves feel good. We're here to work on ourselves. And when the four bodhisattvas vows, we say, beings are numberless, I vow to free them. We're trying to free them from suffering. And I know I myself, sometimes I look at myself and I'm doing absolutely nothing to free anybody from suffering, let alone myself. And that's when we go back to our 6 conditions of Sangha, which I mentioned earlier. The first 3, may we attend to each other with loving kindness in deed, both openly and private. May we attend to each other in loving kindness in word, both openly and in private. And may we attend to each other in loving thought, both openly and in private. If we can attend to each other, and I will add a big one, and to ourselves, if we can attend to everyone with loving kindness in deed, thought, and word, our Sangha can be a place we can truly take refuge in. Even if your Sangha is just you cooking dinner by yourself. If that's your Sangha this afternoon, attend to that in loving kindness in thought, word, and deed. And take refuge in yourself as Sangha at that moment. The next 6 conditions kind of dealt with rules, and I'm not going to reread them. My teacher, Edo-san, also spoke about the rules of monasteries. People will say, "Oh, there's too many rules. We have rules in this Sangha. You walk in, you take off your shoes, you turn off your phone. You bow when you enter the door. You bow to your cushions. You sit neatly and quietly." So why do we have that rule? it's not just for rules' sake. These rules are so we can help attend each other with loving kindness in thought, deed, and word. So when you're sitting here meditating, somebody's phone doesn't go off, and that person doesn't feel the need to say, "Oh, hi. Hey, I'm busy meditating right now. I'll call you back when I'm done." The rules are there so we can get along. I love the description of Sanghas as being a big soup. I'm an onion, you're the garlic, there's a few carrots and tomatoes that jump in, and we all cook ourselves slowly, so I no longer become an onion. I'm just part of the flavoring of the soup. We're all needed, we're all necessary. You can't just boil a pot of onions and call it soup. And one of my old teachers used to say, and I'm the big potato. It's a place where we cook together, we soften our edges. And out of this basket of vegetables, we become wonderful soup. And here comes somebody, a bay leaf. Man, they're hard, they're sharp, but they add a lot of flavor to our soup. And pepper alone, don't want to bite a peppercorn, but boy, I want pepper in my soup. We're all here as part of our soup. Having a robe, having a rakasu, taking special vows doesn't make you any more important. We're all here together. And we're training together. And that's what makes a Sangha. As Dogen said, if you've listened to me much, you know that I really get great. I like Dogen. He says a lot. By quickly taking refuge in the three treasures of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you will not only be liberated from suffering, but you will also fully realize enlightenment. So that moment of taking refuge in Sangha, that is our moment of enlightenment. So we can do this all together. Let's take about 10 minutes of quiet meditation. Greg, any questions or comments? We have a lot of good mornings. So read your comments and everybody will see who's here for. I want to say good morning. Wishing everybody was safe. And not all of them is English. And thank you all for saying good morning to each other. I want everybody to look at the chat and just you can chat with each other. That's very nice. And if anybody would like any clarification or any sites, knowing where I got any of my quotes, you can contact me in person. And if that's all, we'll chant the closing gathas. For all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, I now atone for them all. Vast is a robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddha's teaching for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And with that, go in peace. I thank you all for being here this morning and have a wonderful week. Hope to see you all next week.